So Bernie Sanders is a great man. Bernie Sanders will always be a great man. Or at least he was. At least he had great decades. He had great moments. He had a great 50 years. And maybe he'll pass an amendment or two now that he's only a senator. But Bernie Sanders drops out in 2016. I held on. And I said, no, just wait for the next election. Just wait for the convention. Just wait for the... And then he says, no, vote for Hillary. And then people said, you got sheepdogged in order to go vote for Hillary. That was the whole point. Bernie is being used as a tool to bring in more voters into the party and then get them to vote for the establishment. So Bernie Sanders drops out, and this is terrible, expected, but terrible. I basically had given up on, a week ago or so it wasn't that I will vote for Bernie if his name is on the ballot, but me being a cheerleader and me being a fanboy, it seems like there's no love amongst the fanboys. This one person was sitting there saying, now it's time for you to join the Green Party, and I said, well, will I get friends and allies? And then somebody jumped in and says, we're not here to make friends for you. Then fuck you. If you're not going to be my friend, I'm out here fighting for, look at the things I'm fighting for, right? Universal health care, unions and a better society, getting rid of poverty, getting rid of war. So, Green doesn't want to care about me, my survival. You're not going to be my friend. What the fuck good are you? What the fuck good are you? So it's just one guy, but it's like, Jesus Christ, people just want to market and they want to sell you and trick you, but they don't want to actually, be your comrade. So this is terrible. I only want to make a few comments about this. Bernie won the first 3 primaries, and I think a big mistake for progressives is we didn't declare victory. We should have said Bernie won Ohio, and if it's Pete, then at least everybody else is out. Joe needs to drop out. You're ruining the Democrats. You're hurting the Democratic Party. Also, this entire Democratic primary was during the coronavirus season, December 31st, 2019. The last day of 2019 is when they found out that the coronavirus is around. So the coronavirus has been around the whole time. All those, debates, all that conversation, all that shit. And what happened? We didn't declare victory when New Hampshire happened, when Nevada happened, we didn't build a ton of pressure to get Joe to drop out. The establishment had their shit together. They got everybody organized. And all those endorsements, right? Joe won, all those endorsements, and then boom, just blew up on Super Tuesday. It wasn't just Super Tuesday, it was the way the whole campaign, because why, Bernie won. Bernie won Iowa, Bernie won New Hampshire, Bernie won Nevada, drop out Joe. But we didn't get that, angry chorus. And now they did it to Bernie and they got him to drop out. So, the way power politics works, if you just go along with the flow, the squeaky wheel, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So, for the most part, you go along with the flow, you go along with the show, but then you say, hey, what's that? This is, and this and that, and this and that. And then they have to listen to you and they have to, or you could always just, put constant pressure on them, non-stop pressure. The way you win a chess game is you just constantly, right? You just keep advancing. You put pressure on. You're attacking this piece, attacking that piece. Combinations here and there. And so, yeah, we didn't declare victory. The establishment had their shit together. Progressives didn't. Instead of bullying folks online, we need to just try old school. Organize. Talk with folks face-to-face. Organize meetings. Get, protest politicians. Talk about our country and where we're headed. Bullying folks online turns out it's not so, Bernie dropped out in 2016, so it was expected. I wasn't going to be sheepdogs to about, last week or so. I'm not sure how he gets any leverage against Joe Biden without his campaign, so it's a terrible move. He's going to keep his delegates and maybe use them as fucking leverage or collateral. Bernie plays the game not very good, and he doesn't play the game to win. A revolutionary quit? A revolutionary can't quit. Could you imagine Che Guevara being like, nah, I quit. Plus, Bernie voted for the Wall Street bailout. Bernie could have just tweeted out general strike. The moment we needed Bernie Sanders the most is the moment he bails on us. Now, don't get me wrong, Bernie is great. But Bernie could have done better. Bernie supporters could have done better. But we have a measuring stick. Just think about it for a second. What has America just now said? Right? We only have Bernie Sanders, AOC. This is the only heartbeat, the only socialist, left-wing, progressive, honest politicians, leadership we have in America. A little bit, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Ilhan Omar, right? There's a smattering, right? That Ro Khanna. So there's a handful of progressives that's in there. But they all voted for the Wall Street bailout, right? AOC, Ilhan, Bernie. But think about what this Democratic race is saying. Okay, you got two men, right? Bernie Sanders on one hand, Joe Biden on the other. Joe Biden, old grandpa groping sniff, right? Joe Biden, the pervert who, at the very least, is a pervert. The latest accusation was that he walked up to a woman at a house party and just started fingering her out of nowhere. She didn't want it. She, was stunned by it, traumatized by it, and then Joe Biden says, "You're nothing." When, she said she didn't want it, and now Joe, has to face what he's done. And so Joe Biden is a pervert. At the very least, Joe Biden is a pervert. At the most, he's a fucking criminal. So, okay, one rapist versus another rapist, right? And then the other one, right, because it's penetration, so like finger rape was against her consent, it's against her will. I think, rape might be, it's a little rhetoric on it. But it's fucking criminal, and it's fucking bullshit. And so you're going to have one rapist, sexual harasser, versus another rapist, sexual harasser. He's also a neoliberal. He doesn't have any progressive policies whatsoever. He ran as a blank slate nobody. He's got, style, wears fancy clothing, talks real loud and confident. So we got a measuring stick. The supposed liberal opposition party is not a liberal party. They're oppositional, but they're right-wing oppositional. Democrats and Republicans have more in common with each other than progressives and Democrats. So think about it for a second. The voters, so it's not just on Bernie, this is on the voters, this is on America. So if the Democrats are not the liberal opposition, then who the fuck is the left-wing liberal opposition? Who are the socialists if it's not the Democrats? Is it the Republicans? Were the Republicans the socialists the whole time? Hey, we thought the Democrats were for the poor and working class, but the Democrats are for the working class and the poor. So would Bernie Sanders have had a better chance running as a Republican? As a socialist, would he have got more... would he have been taken more serious? I bet he could make an argument that he's a conservative. So what America has decided, and, Bernie put the nail in the coffin, so he made it, public, but with the Democrats saying that they're going with the Joe Biden and not a Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, a good man, Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, a good man, a good, honest politician who's in government, who's been telling us the truth decade after decade. A good, honest man who's an independent, who tells the truth, who's been fighting for the American people his whole goddamn life, was not good enough. That's not good enough. No. What we want is some shiny asshole that's got a shit ton of money with a bunch of advertisements and a couple endorsements by some other neoliberal assholes. That's what you're going with? Joe Biden, if you don't know anything about him, he's a blank slate. If you do know anything about him, then he's right-wing. Right? Crime bill, Iraq war, Patriot Act. He's an incrementalist. He's not even gonna change anything. He told a bunch of rich people so Mr. Incrementalism. So Mr. Incrementalism ain't gonna change shit, ain't gonna do shit, ain't gonna inspire anybody with his bullshit. You don't have a vision, don't have a progressive vision, don't have bold progressive ideas that's gonna make anybody excited, That's the direction that's the direction the Democratic voters have gone. We didn't get our bout, our Muhammad Ali bout. Our champion has had to drop out. Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders is exactly what America needs. If we're fighting for the heart and soul of America, then we've just declared that America has no heart and soul. All we care about is money, right? Conservatives are thinking with their brain. Liberals are, bleeding hearts. They think with their heart. They care about people. But with the Democrats picking Joe Biden, a neoliberal Iraq war, crime bill, bigger, more fascism, more authoritarianism, a neoliberal right-wing asshole who's not a progressive, who believes in nothing. So if you're real and you're honest, right, this makes me think about George Carlin when they said about RFK and JFK and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Anybody who comes in and says we need peace, bam, right through the fucking head. And so, bam, right through the fucking head. Apparently we're not ready for somebody. We're not ready for peace and justice and brotherhood and, singing Kumbaya and saying we're goddamn Americans and we're in this thing together. All for one and one for all. No, that's communistic. You can't say we're in this together. You can talk about the union, right? But you can't talk about, us together. That's communism, man. You have to be a selfish, individualistic asshole who gives trillions of dollars to the big banks and props up the big financial banks and industries to make sure they never, ever fail. An endless war machine, big banks, corporations, Wall Street. This is the direction America has chosen, the Democratic Party, so there's no fucking chance. Joe Biden's for incremental change. So that means Donald Trump is the change candidate. Which means Donald Trump can make the argument that he's the status quo and he's the change candidate. He's also independent, and he doesn't talk like a fucking asshole. Joe Biden is boring and uninspiring. Well, he's going to beat Donald Trump, he's going to beat him up, is he? He's going to, do some arm wrestling. He is kind of a dick. It might be the only good fucking thing about Joe, is that him being a dick might be, go toe-to-toe with the asshole that's in the White House now. But I think it sets a terrible example. Bernie's a good man. So that means listen up, young people in America. Listen up, Generation, Y, Generation Z. Listen up, millennials. The leadership class don't give a shit about you. The American people, your own mothers and parents and grandparents don't give a shit about you. You fight for the good fight. You fight for the good cause. You fight for truth and justice, expanding Social Security, free college, all those ideas. Post office, having banking services, forgiving student debt, universal health care, ending all these wars, all those ideas are dead and gone. Joe ain't going to get a shit. He said he would veto universal health care. During the fucking pandemic, he's going to veto health care. If the Republicans, somehow you got Mitch McConnell on board and got it passed, Joe Biden would defeat universal health care. He's not going to legalize marijuana, says it's a gateway drug. Joe's a terrible fucking candidate. So when Joe Rogan now you like Joe Rogan, huh? Before he wasn't good enough to endorse Bernie, right? Let's fuck Joe Rogan over. But the moment he says that, Donald Trump is more, looks like a better candidate than Joe Biden, they lose their shit. He doesn't just look like a bad, a terrible, they're both evil, they're both shitty. So what? Where am I going with this? I think it's important to understand that American people have said for the future generations, we don't want good, honest, progressive politics. We don't want real people. We want the bullshitters in there. We want the liars, the compromisers, the cheaters. We want the people that just, fucking made a deal, who fucking kept their head down, who didn't have any goddamn morality, no principles, no beliefs. They stood for nothing. They played the game to enrich themselves. That's who the American people want. And so when people say that we're fighting for the heart and soul of America, since it's not Bernie versus Donald, that would have been, are we more about love and caring about our neighbors, or are we a bunch of capitalist assholes? Now it's, are we a bunch of capitalist assholes, or are we a bunch of capitalist assholes? Are we a bunch of, endless forever war psychopaths, or are we a bunch of endless forever war psychopaths? Are we for Wall Street, to a tune of $6 trillion, or are we, for Wall Street to a tune of $10 trillion? How much do we fucking suck AIG's dick? How much do we love Wall Street and the Bank of New York Mellon? Mellon? What a stupid, but the Bank of New York Mellon, here's $1 trillion, Bank of New York Mellon. So the American people has rejected honesty, rejected being good, rejected being honest, rejected people who fight for the American people. Shut up, Bernie, you stupid ass old man, sitting there fighting for the American people. You're making us look bad. So the general American population have no morality, have no principles, don't give a shit about others. Dog-eat-dog capitalists. Fuck the homeless. Fuck your sick grandmother. Fuck you. Fuck everybody. Fuck them before you get fucked. That kind of mentality. Don't care about the community. Don't care about everybody. Not bleeding hearts. Not for fighting for the heart and soul of America. We don't have a heart and soul. That's what the fuck the Democratic Party has just decided. We're only about right-wing capitalism. Right-wing, dog-eat-dog, steal everybody's shit. Lie, cheat, and steal, whatever the fuck it takes. It's giving us a bad name. The U.S. dollar is dropping. Also, we just sold, everybody out to Wall Street. Which I'll talk about that in a second. But first, Bernie Sanders in his totality, in his career, it means that the Democratic Party is just oppositional. But they're not left-wing. They're not progressive. They're not socialist. They're not anything. They're right-wing. And that's it. The right-wing neoliberals, and they're just pretending to be oppositional. It's a game, right? There's actually more in common with the National Democratic Party and the Republican Party than there are with progressives and the National Democrats. Why do National Democrats hate the progressives? Why do the Democratic Party hate their own fucking base? The Democratic Party hates their own fucking base. And what kind of masochist would you? To be part of the Democratic Party, a progressive, and to think that they're ever going to give a shit about you. The difference between Donald Trump is he appeals to his base. The Democratic Party says, fuck you progressives, you're too liberal, you're too starry-eyed, you care too much, you have too much heart. So, National Democrats, GOP, endless forever wars, terrorizing the Palestinians, 1994 crime bill, Wall Street bailouts, the for big business, big banks, they're anti-socialist capitalists, so they're one-sided, myopic. Joe has no future vision for America. No progressive policies are going to come with a Joe Biden. So I think a Joe Biden presidency, a failure of a Joe Biden presidency could end the Democratic Party, or the failure of Joe Biden to beat Donald Trump will end the Democratic Party. So part of me says, let the asshole jump up there and see if he can do better. I think for America, it's possible when you change the leadership that there's a possibility for change. So I think for America, Joe's incrementalist, fucking is a little bit better than Donald. So for America, I hope that if it's not the Green Party or a progressive, I'd rather Joe than Donald. But I'm not going to champion Joe. I'm not going to push for Joe. I won't vote for Joe. I will vote for the Green Party. He's a neoliberal, and so he's slightly better. His evil, right? He's the lesser of the two evils. But he's a neoliberal incrementalist. He's Grandpa Gropensniff, so he's, seemingly out of nowhere fingered that one woman at a house party against her will, said she's a nobody. I will end you. You'll never find any work in this town, Joe told So he's definitely a pervert at the very least, possibly, probably a criminal. Joe's neoliberal, sucks. So he sucks as an individual person, and his policies. I think policies are the most important consideration for a candidate for the President of the United States. And so therefore his policies, he's going to be a shitty fucking president. I'm not going to, he would be slightly better than Donald, but I'm not going for slightly better, and I'm sick of just fucking surviving. And I'm, ready to start thriving. I'm sick of just surviving. Bernie Sanders playing the game is disheartening. If he played to win, he would have won. But Bernie Sanders just proves to me that the duopoly is the patrician class. You got the ruling class, and then you got the masses, the plebeians. It's too, tiered. Bernie was part, that's how Donald ran for president, just so he could feel like he's a part of the ruling class. Bernie Sanders came down from the patrician class. He's part of the Senate class. He tried to fight for us, but we, the Democrats, the voters of the Democratic Party, fought against Bernie Sanders. Fuck you, Bernie. We don't care if you, predicted the Iraq War and took all that shit. We don't care if you went and said Alan Greenspan predicted the Great. We don't care that you fought for integration. We don't give a shit that you've been a good man your whole goddamn life and that we may never give a Bernie Sanders ever again. So we're just going to what? Let the rich and the upper elite, the rich and powerful, rig the game against us? The American people said to Bernie Sanders, the only, possible, if you wanted to make America actually great for the first time, make America revolutionary for the first time, you would have elected Bernie Sanders. But we don't want America to be great. We don't want bold ideas. Progressives, the majority of the American people believe in what the progressives believe in. But for some reason, I guess progressives need to just have style, because style had beat substance. That's what America is saying loud and clear with Joe Biden over Bernie. We prefer style over substance. Who gives a shit? Joe has, whatever he is going to do, it's shitty, but they didn't care about his policies. They liked his style. He had no substance, but they didn't care. They didn't care. The little substance he has is bad. So I think it's bad for America. It's bad, we're not going to get all those good ideas. It's bad for the future of this country. So if, it's better, basically, the American people says it's better to be a lying, compromising, cheating, bullshitting pervert. It's better to, be a fucking Joe Biden than a Bernie Sanders. It's better to, be in favor of the Iraq War and then later on say, oh, I didn't mean it. Instead of saying, no, the Iraq War, murdering people, killing people, this is wrong. It's better to be the liar and the piece of shit that made a shitty decision who comes back later and kind of gives a half-assed apology than it is to be the man who actually had the right idea at the right time, who actually had the moral clarity, who's a good, honest man. We actually have a good, honest man in government. And he's been fighting for the American people his whole life, and that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And, now Bernie Sanders has gone back into the patrician class. Maybe we'll get an amendment or two, but he's gone back into the fold. He's a Pelosi and Hillary loyalist. So, maybe we'll get an amendment or two out of him before he retires. But fuck America, Democrat voters, what the fuck have you done? You fucked us. You've taught future generations, don't be an FDR. Don't be an FDR. Instead, be a Michael Dukakis. Instead, be a Hubert Humphrey. Don't be a Robert Kennedy. Don't be a JFK. Don't even be a Barack Obama. He ran as a progressive. But run as a right-wing, moderate neoliberal. Run as a right-wing, and then people, they can't tell the difference. They both look like Republicans. And maybe you'll just slip on through. So America, Democratic Party, Democratic voters, what have you done? What the fuck have you done? You stand for nothing. You choose a bullshitter. You're in favor of the pervert who cheats and compromises his entire fucking career. So just hang out with the right friends, get the right style, look the part, and then you get to become president. Last thing I want to mention is, since Bernie's back into the patrician class, he voted for the Wall Street bailout. So did AOC. I don't know any progressives that voted against it. The only thing I know is that Rand Paul said something against it. He abstained from voting. But Thomas Massie, spoke up against it, and he proudly and loudly voted against the damn thing. So the only heroes we have around, the only people that's not going to bail out Wall Street in the time of this national pandemic, oh no, there's a disease going around killing people. Let's give Wall Street trillions of fucking dollars, Bernie, AOC. So they're back into the Patricia class. They're back into the fold, right? They're going to say, go vote for Joe Biden. Now, this is sad and disappointing. There's no progressives on the horizon in America. There's no progressives at all. There's no leadership. I think we're a progressive nation around the world. People think we're liberal and shit. I don't think we actually know what the fuck we are. We also said that we're capitalist, but I'm not for sure if people actually, I don't hear Americans go, well, we capitalist. That's just what we capitalists do. I don't hear that kind of talk in America. It would shock me, and it makes me laugh thinking about it. But overall, I wonder if maybe it's a good thing. Because I was, sad about it, and, I'd vote for Bernie, but I'm not going to cheerlead and be a fanboy for about a week or two, and, he's fucking dropped out, so it was a good choice by me. A revolutionary cannot quit, Bernie, so a revolutionary keeps on going, no matter what. So I think perhaps it's a good thing. Now what if we are the revolution that we've been looking for? Nobody can save the people. The people must save themselves. It's not our darkness that frightens us, but our light. So instead of waiting for some Superman progressive, politician savior to rescue us all, so instead of expecting that and waiting for that to happen, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get a political savior, so we're on our own. And I've always known that I've been on my own. People talk about liberals being for the government. Don't give a shit about anybody. Nobody gives a shit. This is America. Nobody cares about anybody here. So if we want to effectuate change, since we're gods, since we are, I think we're the revolution. We're the revolutionaries we've been waiting for. We're the revolution we've been waiting for. So if we want to effectuate change, now is the time to do it, but we got to do it ourselves. And hell, we've always known that. We've always known that. We've always been by ourselves. So the revolution keeps going, Bernie. A revolutionary never ever stops. LBJ started his campaign against JFK 1 week before the convention. 1 week. And then LBJ became vice president, and then he became president. So LBJ running 1 week before that, that's the establishment. JFK was the change. And they said, no, we need to get somebody, one of our guys in there. So ultimately, my advice for any Bernie supporters or Bernie bros, to focus on local and state. 90% of our power is local and state anyways. I'm not sure what the fuck national government I could have, effectuate any change. I know that Scott Tipton and all my fucking congressmen around here, they live so far away, D.C., so I don't know what influence I have. But local government's right here, state government's, way closer by than the national government. So 90% we could change. Where our power lies is changing local and state government. 90% of our power could change local and state. We could see it clearly. We're closer to them. And in the meantime, I think we're going to have to figure out about this deficit of progressives, this drought. I mean, it's a bunch of old-ass people anyway, so where the fuck is the new generation at? It's not just young people ain't voting. Young people aren't participating in politics, in mass, especially progressives. And if we want a better country, I just read Mitch McConnell just announced his 8,000th judicial appointment, 9,000 something fucking crazy like that. So the right wing, Wall Street, war, corporate class, they got a Mitch McConnell, and he's been able to get 8,000 judges appointed, and now they have power, and now they, are going to fuck people's lives over. But we don't even have a single fucking progressive. We don't have a single progressive on the national scene, so that's a big gaping hole that I think that needs to be addressed eventually. We'll need to talk about it and discuss it.